Hey ladies, so when it comes to the topic of investment, one of the next big investments that we need to choose to make if we are going to fully walk in our calling is the investment of time. And we talked last week about the investment of learning, and obviously it takes time to put into learning, to put into reading, to put into studying, to going to classes. All of these things require time. But there's also other investments of our time that we need to make. And one of the biggest investments of time that we need to make if we're going to fully walk in our calling is the investment of spending time with Jesus. We need to commit to spending time in prayer on a regular basis, spending time alone with God in worship, talking to Him, speaking in our prayer language, just being there, soaking in His presence, speaking to Him and listening to us. We also need to make a commitment to prayer and even investing more time into Bible study so that we can learn God's Word, see what it is really saying so that we can practically apply it to our everyday lives. These are investments in time that help us become familiar with the voice of God so that we can walk in our calling. But there's even other investments of time that we need to make. And those are just the investment of time to do what God is calling us to do. I mean, so often we hear people say, I know that God is calling me to write a book and share my testimony. I know God is calling me to call my neighbor and talk to them. I know God's calling me to get involved in that ministry, but it's going to take so many hours out of my week. I know that, God's calling me to mentor someone, but do I really have the time? And the truth is that time is a valuable investment. But yet, if we're truly going to walk in our God-given calling, we need to be able to invest this time into doing whatever He calls us to do. And one of the questions we need to ask ourselves when it comes to the concept of whatever it takes, are we really willing to do whatever it takes, including giving up our time? Are we just going to keep hearing the voice of God and say, I'll get to it someday when I have more time? The truth is, we're not really promised tomorrow. We're not really promised the guarantee of being here or that we'll have the means or the ability to do it tomorrow. Instead, we need to make the choice that while it is today, we will answer God's call, we will make the investment of time, we will schedule it into our lives, we'll sacrifice things and give up things that aren't necessary so that we can invest the time into following God's call, advancing His kingdom, and living a life worthy of our calling, whatever it takes.